You are about to enter a story that is not just about speed, not just about strength, and not even about fame. This is a story about a fire that refused to die, a fire that lived in the heart of a young boy who had nothing, yet dared to believe he could become the most influential martial artist of all time. A story that will not only inspire you, it will help you improve your English naturally through cinematic storytelling. This is the Bruce Lee Project, the storm before the legend. The night he was born, a storm rattled the streets of San Francisco. Thunder cracked like the world was announcing something extraordinary or warning something dangerous. A crying newborn, fragile and small, wrapped in a thin blanket, Bruce Jun Fan Lee. But legends don't begin with glory. They begin with chaos. Just months later, his family carried him back to Hong Kong, a city trembling under political tension, poverty, and fear. Imagine narrow streets, crowded homes, and the smell of survival hanging in the air. Hong Kong wasn't a place to grow up. It was a place to fight for every breath. His mother whispered to him, "Stay close, Bruce. These streets, they change people." Little did she know, they would change him too. A boy with too much fire. As a child, Bruce wasn't strong, but he was fast, too wild, too explosive. He loved movement, dancing, running through the alleyways. But the streets loved something else: violence. Gang fights erupted like thunderstorms. Kids barely older than Bruce threw punches not for pride, but for survival. One evening, Bruce stood in the middle of a fight he didn't start. A larger boy shoved him against a brick wall and growled, "Know your place." Bruce felt humiliation burn under his skin, but he didn't fight back, not that day. He just clenched his fists and stared at the ground as laughter echoed around him. That moment was the spark. Hunger, fear, and the first lesson. Life at home wasn't easy. Money was a ghost, always talked about, never seen. Some nights rice was spread thin, and hunger sat with the family like an unwelcome guest. Bruce once asked his father, "Why is life so hard for us?" His father sighed, "Because hardship molds the spirit." Bruce didn't understand it then, but those words would follow him forever. He began studying martial arts, not for discipline, not for honor, but because he was tired of being afraid. His first days were brutal, sweat burning in his eyes, legs shaking, arms trembling, but the young boy kept going, because somewhere inside, a voice whispered, "You are meant for something more." The first turning point. Martial arts wasn't just physical training for Bruce. It was liberation. Every punch felt like breaking a chain. Every kick felt like claiming a piece of himself back. He trained in slow motion under the dim light of early morning and in explosive bursts when the city slept. But then, reality struck. A rival gang began targeting him. They saw his skill as a threat. They wanted blood. One night, they ambushed him. 5 versus 1. Rain poured like the sky was screaming. Bruce fought back with everything he had learned. But he was still just a boy. He returned home bruised, breathless, yet strangely calm. His mother touched his face gently and whispered, "Bruce, this path will destroy you." Bruce stared at his reflection, swollen lips, bleeding knuckles, and whispered, "This path will build me." It was the moment he chose his destiny. The boy who once ran from fear began chasing greatness. But what Bruce didn't know was this: his rise would force him to leave everything he loved and walk into a world that would either shape him or break him completely. The escape from danger. Trouble was now following Bruce like a shadow. He was winning fights in the streets, but in Hong Kong, winning could be just as dangerous as losing. Whispers spread. "That Lee kid, he's too fast. He's getting stronger. Teach him a lesson." One day, police arrived at the Lee household. A knock that sounded like thunder. Bruce's mother opened the door, fear tightening her voice. An officer said, "Your son is becoming a target and a threat. If he stays here, something bad will happen." That night, the Lee family sat in silence. No one ate, no one moved. Bruce finally whispered, "So, what do I do?" His father looked at him, eyes heavy with worry and pride. "You leave, you start over, you save yourself." Those words hurt more than any punch Bruce had ever taken. He wasn't being sent away because he was weak. He was being sent away because he was too strong for a world not ready for him. And so, with a single suitcase, little money, and a dream too big for the streets of Hong Kong, Bruce boarded a ship, a slow-motion moment, the ship horn echoing across the harbor, his mother wiping tears, his father standing still, Hong Kong fading behind him. Bruce whispered to himself, "This is not an exile, this is evolution." The lonely start in America. America was nothing like the movies. It was cold, unfamiliar, unforgiving. Bruce arrived in Seattle with no status, no friends, no safety net. He washed dishes in restaurants to survive, hands red from hot water, back aching, sleep interrupted by worry. But every night, after the restaurant closed, he trained, punches slicing through the darkness, kicks echoing through empty streets, footwork sharp as lightning. He repeated 3 words silently: be better tomorrow. This script, this story, it not only inspires you, it helps you improve your English naturally, word by word, moment by moment, just like Bruce improved himself. The seed of a dream. One evening, Bruce taught a restaurant worker a simple punch. The man gasped. How did you move so fast?" Bruce smiled. "I don't move fast. I move with intention." Word spread. Soon, a few students gathered in a small parking lot behind the restaurant. No mats, no equipment, just concrete ground and Bruce's fire. But something unexpected happened. Teaching lit a new spark in him. He realized he didn't just want to fight. He wanted to change the world's understanding of martial arts, to break traditions, to innovate, to create something that belonged to no country, but to everyone. A dream was born. The first real struggle in America. Success didn't come suddenly. Students came and left. Some laughed at his ideas. Some mocked his accent. Some told him to go back home. One man pointed at Bruce's chest and said, "Americans won't learn from you. Remember your place." The words hit like a knife. Bruce swallowed the hurt. But that night, he trained until his knuckles bled. He looked at his bruised fists and whispered, "I don't have a place. I will create my place." The next day, Bruce made a bold decision. He would open his first martial arts school, a tiny, empty room, peeling paint, hard floor, no mirrors, no money. But when he stood in the center of that room, he felt something powerful. Possibility. The fight that shook his soul. Then came the challenge. A group of traditional martial artists confronted Bruce. They accused him of teaching non-Chinese students. Among them, a man stepped forward and said, "We challenge you. If you lose, you must close your school." Bruce nodded. No fear, only clarity. The fight was intense, fast, brutal, raw. Bruce won, but he wasn't satisfied. He realized something important. Speed is nothing without simplicity. Power is nothing without purpose. This moment changed his entire philosophy and gave birth to what the world would one day call Jeet Kune Do. Yet Bruce didn't know. His biggest breakthrough and his biggest heartbreak were waiting just ahead. Bruce was no longer just a fighter. He was an innovator, a storm in human form. His new philosophy, Jeet Kune Do, wasn't a style, it was freedom. Movie directors began hearing whispers about a young martial artist who moved like water. One day, a producer walked into Bruce's studio. The door creaked open. Bruce paused mid-kick, sweat dripping, chest rising and falling. The producer said, "Show me what you can do." Bruce didn't speak. He simply moved, lightning-fast punches, a blur of footwork, a kick that sliced the air like a blade. When he stopped, the room was silent. The producer swallowed hard. "We need you on camera." A door had opened. A door Bruce had been punching his whole life. Hollywood, the dream and the battle. Hollywood promised opportunity, but the reality was cruel. Casting directors told him, "You're too Asian. The audience won't accept you. We need someone who looks American." Bruce clenched his jaw, fighting back the fire inside him. In one audition, an executive laughed and said, "What else can you do besides Kung Fu?" Bruce leaned forward and replied softly, "I can be the future." But Hollywood wasn't ready for a man like him. He got small roles, minor parts, scenes cut before release. At night, he stood alone under streetlights, hands in his pockets, thinking, "How can I have so much talent and still be invisible?" The loneliness hit him like never before. The rejection felt personal. The dream seemed like it was slipping through his fingers. But Bruce Lee was not born to surrender. He doubled his training. He sharpened his acting. He studied storytelling, camera movement, screen presence. And every day he whispered, "Be water, keep flowing." This story, just like his journey, helps you improve your English naturally through images, emotions, and rhythm. The moment everything changed. Bruce received a call one morning. A producer from Hong Kong had seen his TV appearances. "Bruce, come home, make movies here, show the world what you can do." He packed his bags immediately. This time, he wasn't running from danger. He was running toward destiny. Hong Kong welcomed him like a returning king. Lights flashed. Crowds screamed his name. Directors bowed. Reporters flooded him with questions. But Bruce only said one sentence: "Let my work speak." Then the world watched him unleash something they had never seen before. The explosion of a legend. Bruce filmed The Big Boss. It shattered every box office record. Then came Fist of Fury, another record destroyed. Then Way of the Dragon, where Bruce directed, wrote, and starred. Every kick, every punch, every glare into the camera felt like thunder. People didn't just watch him, they believed him. He was no longer an actor. He was a movement, a revolution, a global shockwave. Kids copied his screams. Adults studied his philosophy. Fighters tried to understand his explosiveness. Bruce Lee had risen from poverty, from rejection, from fear, and turned himself into the most influential martial artist the world had ever seen. But destiny had one final twist: the silence after the storm. In 1973, during the making of Enter the Dragon, Bruce collapsed. Headache, weakness, confusion. Doctors tried everything, but his body, the body that had punched through limits, glass ceilings, and history, gave out. Bruce Lee passed away at the age of 32. The world froze. Millions wept. Newspapers screamed, "How can a man this powerful die so young?" But legends don't die. They echo, and Bruce's echo shook the planet. The final reflection. Bruce Lee once said, "The key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering." And he did. He taught the world that strength can rise from poverty, that purpose can rise from fear, that greatness can rise from rejection, that a man can shape his own destiny, and that all of us, every single one, can be water, can adapt, can overcome, can rise. This story didn't just inspire you, it improved your English, sharpened your imagination, and lit a spark in your heart. Because the Bruce Lee Project is not just a cinematic tale, it is a reminder of who you can become.